Have you ever looked down at your breakfast plate and thought, well, this is what I've always eaten, so it must still be fine? Maybe it's a couple of eggs, scrambled in butter with a slice of toast, and maybe a little cheese on top. The same comforting routine you've followed for years. It's familiar, it's quick, and it feels like the kind of food that's good for you. But what if I told you that even a small habit like that, something you've done for decades without thinking, could actually be hurting your health now that you're over 60? Here's the thing. As we age, our bodies don't respond to food the same way they used to. Our digestion slows down. Our cholesterol levels may start creeping up. We lose muscle faster. Our arteries may not be as flexible. And foods that were perfectly fine, even healthy, in our 30s or 40s might start having very different effects once we're older. That's why today we need to take a closer look at something most of us eat regularly without a second thought: eggs. Now don't get me wrong, eggs can be incredibly nutritious. They're packed with protein, vitamin D, choline, and antioxidants that are great for your eyes and brain. But it's not just about whether eggs are good or bad. It's about how you eat them, how often you eat them, and what you're eating them with. That's where the real difference lies. Let us start with a common breakfast mistake: frying your eggs in butter or bacon grease every morning. It sounds delicious, and I know it's hard to beat the flavor of eggs cooked that way. But here is the catch. Frying eggs in animal fat adds a significant amount of saturated fat to your meal. And if you're doing this regularly, especially in combination with other high-fat or salty foods, you could be quietly increasing your risk for heart disease. Your heart after 60 isn't quite as forgiving as it used to be. Your arteries may stiffen, your blood pressure may rise, and cholesterol can become a real concern, especially if you already have a family history of heart issues. Now, you don't have to switch to a bland diet or give up eggs altogether, but a small change, like using a teaspoon of olive oil or poaching your eggs instead of frying, can go a long way in protecting your heart while still letting you enjoy the foods you love. And let us talk about another habit that's crept into a lot of health advice over the years: skipping the yolk. You've probably heard someone say, "I only eat egg whites. The yolks are full of cholesterol." And yes, it's true that the yolk contains most of the egg's cholesterol, but it also contains most of the nutrition. That's where you find vitamin D, B12, choline, and zeaxanthin, nutrients that support your bones, memory, and vision. Choline in particular is something most people don't get enough of, and it's critical for brain function. If you're concerned about memory or focus as you get older, cutting out the yolk might actually be working against you. The key isn't to fear the yolk, it's to be mindful of the total picture. For most healthy adults over 60, one whole egg a day is considered safe, even if you have slightly elevated cholesterol. But if you're eating 5 or 6 eggs a day, or pairing them with other sources of saturated fat, that's where you might run into trouble. And speaking of what we pair eggs with, let us take a closer look at those common breakfast sides. A plate of eggs next to bacon, sausage, or a pile of buttery toast may sound satisfying, but it can be a sodium and saturated fat overload, especially if that's how you're starting your day every morning. High sodium intake is one of the biggest contributors to high blood pressure, and unfortunately, it often hides in foods we think of as normal. That doesn't mean you need to give up all your favorites. Just consider making some thoughtful swaps. Instead of bacon or sausage, try pairing your eggs with a handful of spinach, sliced avocado, or even a few roasted sweet potato cubes. These not only taste great, but they also add fiber, healthy fats, and antioxidants that your body needs more of as you age. Another thing that often goes unnoticed is how quickly we eat. Many of us have spent years rushing through breakfast, maybe eating while standing up in the kitchen or grabbing a bite between tasks. But after 60, digestion slows down, and eating too quickly can lead to bloating, indigestion, and even blood sugar spikes. When you eat eggs, or any protein for that matter, it's worth slowing down. Chew more, sip water between bites, and take a few minutes to really enjoy the meal. You'll be surprised how much better you feel afterward. Lighter, more satisfied, and more in tune with your body's needs. And here's something else to consider. How fresh are the eggs you're eating? As we age, our immune systems become a little less robust, which means we're more vulnerable to things like salmonella or foodborne illness. Eggs should always be stored properly in the coldest part of your fridge, not the door, and cooked thoroughly until both the yolk and white are firm. If you're someone who enjoys runny yolks or soft-boiled eggs, just be aware of the risk. and talk to your doctor if you have any conditions that could make infection more dangerous for you. It might seem like a lot of new rules for such a simple food, but these aren't meant to scare you. They're here to help you take something you already love, something comforting, nourishing, and familiar, and make it even better for your body today. The goal isn't perfection. It's not about giving up everything you enjoy. It's about understanding how your needs are changing and making gentle shifts that support your health, one breakfast at a time. That's really the heart of it. You've spent your whole life caring for others, raising a family, working hard, being there when people needed you. Now, it's your time to care for you, and it starts with the little things, like how you make your eggs, what you serve them with, how you listen to your body in the morning. These are small acts of self-care, and they matter. There's still more we need to talk about, especially how eggs interact with things like diabetes, inflammation, and long-term brain health. Because the truth is, eggs can either be a fantastic tool or a quiet saboteur, depending on how you use them. Let's keep going. Now that we've looked at some of the basics, how we cook eggs, what we eat them with, how we treat them in the kitchen, let's get into the deeper conversation. The one that happens quietly in doctors' offices and labs, where numbers start creeping upward, and we begin hearing things like elevated A1C or early insulin resistance. If any of those terms sound familiar, you're not alone. Type 2 diabetes becomes far more common after 60, and the way we eat plays a much bigger role than most of us realize, especially when it comes to breakfast. You see, eggs themselves don't contain sugar. That's not the issue. The issue is that they're often part of meals that spike blood sugar, especially when we pair them with toast, jam, pancakes, juice, or even a coffee loaded with sweet creamer. That combination of carbs and fat, especially when eaten quickly and without fiber, can cause blood sugar to rise, then crash. Over time, that repeated spike and drop pattern can contribute to insulin resistance, weight gain around the midsection, and increased cravings later in the day. One way to stop this cycle is to make sure your breakfast has balance. Eggs can be the protein anchor, but think about what you can add that supports slow, steady digestion. A handful of berries, some vegetables, a sprinkle of flax or chia seeds. These may seem small, but they work behind the scenes to slow glucose absorption and keep your energy more even. And if you've been feeling unusually tired in the mid-morning or craving something sweet soon after breakfast, it could be your blood sugar asking for a better partner to those eggs. Now, let's talk about something else that can sneak up on us as we get older. Inflammation. You might not think about inflammation much unless you're dealing with arthritis or chronic pain, but low-grade inflammation affects nearly every part of the body. Your joints, your heart, your brain, even your gut. And while eggs themselves aren't inherently inflammatory, how and when we eat them can make a difference. If your breakfast is full of processed ingredients, if your eggs are cooked in margarine, or if your meal lacks color from plants, you could be nudging your body into a more inflamed state, day after day. It's subtle, it's slow, but it builds. That stiffness in your knees, the brain fog, the bloated belly. Sometimes it's not just aging, it's what you're feeding your body. Instead of fighting inflammation with pills, we can start fighting it in the kitchen, gently, through smarter choices. Think eggs with leafy greens, turmeric, tomatoes, or even olive oil. These foods don't just nourish, they soothe. There's a beautiful, powerful opportunity here to reshape how we think about aging. We often hear, well, this is just how it is after 60, as if decline is inevitable. But what if it isn't? What if it's more about how we respond to our body's new needs than accepting discomfort as the norm? That brings me to one of the most overlooked egg mistakes people make, not realizing how important nutrient synergy becomes with age. Let me explain. It's not just about what's in the egg. It's about how the rest of the meal either helps or blocks your body from using those nutrients. For example, eggs are a rich source of vitamin D, which is vital for bone health and mood, especially as we age. But if you're not getting enough healthy fats, that vitamin D can't be absorbed properly. That's why a little avocado on the side, or some olive oil drizzled on veggies, can make a world of difference. It's about helping your body help itself. Let's be honest, there's a lot of conflicting advice out there. One day eggs are good, the next day they're a danger. It's exhausting, and it makes it hard to know what to actually do. But here's what I've learned through research, personal experience, and listening to others on this journey. When we stop looking for black and white answers and start tuning into our own bodies, things become clearer. You don't need to fear food, you need to understand it. And eggs, when eaten mindfully, can absolutely be part of a vibrant, energized, and healthy life after 60. But the key word is mindfully. That means checking in with yourself, noticing how you feel after eating, asking whether your breakfast is really serving your goals. Are you energized or sluggish, satisfied or still snacking? Do you feel light and nourished, or heavy and slow? The answers to those questions matter more than what any food label says. Let me share something I heard from a viewer not long ago. She said, "I used to eat 2 eggs every day with toast and butter, and I'd still feel hungry afterward. I thought I needed more food, but when I swapped the toast for a veggie hash and added a little avocado, I felt full and satisfied for hours." That's not about eating less, that's about eating smarter, giving your body what it actually needs, not just what it's used to getting. Food becomes more personal as we age. What nourishes me might not work for you, and that's okay. But we all benefit from slowing down, paying attention, and making small shifts, not because we're chasing some impossible standard of health, but because we deserve to feel good in our own skin. We deserve mornings that start with clarity, not fog, meals that bring energy, not a crash, bodies that feel supported, not overwhelmed. And eggs, as humble as they are, sit right at the center of this conversation. They're simple, they're familiar, but they're also powerful, and how we treat them matters more than ever. Let's keep moving forward, because there are still a few more surprising truths to unpack, ones that could change not just how you eat your eggs, but how you feel long after breakfast is over. We've covered a lot so far, haven't we? And if you're sitting there thinking, "I never realized eggs could have so much impact," you're not alone. That's the thing about aging. We don't always notice the shifts right away, but over time, little habits stack up. And sometimes, it's not until we change one small thing that we realize how much better we could be feeling. One of the last mistakes I want to talk about, and maybe one of the most common, is relying too heavily on eggs without variety. It's easy to fall into a routine, especially in the morning. Eggs are quick, they're familiar, and they're easy to prepare. But when you're eating the same thing every day, your body starts missing out on other nutrients it needs to thrive. Nutrients that come from a broader palette of whole foods. Think of it like this: your body is like a symphony. Protein from eggs might be the violin section, essential, beautiful. But what about the drums, the brass, the piano? Those come from leafy greens, legumes, nuts, seeds, colorful fruits, and grains. Without them, the music becomes flat. After 60, we need that full orchestra more than ever. Try rotating your breakfast. Maybe eggs one day, steel-cut oats with walnuts and cinnamon the next, Greek yogurt with berries the day after that. Or keep the eggs, but change what you pair them with. Mushrooms and kale one day, roasted tomatoes and sweet potato the next. It's not about restriction, it's about expansion. Variety not only keeps meals exciting, it helps your gut, your brain, and your energy stay balanced and strong. And while we're being honest, let's address one more piece of the puzzle: emotional attachment. For many of us, food isn't just fuel, it's memories. Eggs might remind you of mornings at your grandmother's table, or a quick breakfast before work, or quiet Sunday mornings with someone you love. And that matters. Food is comfort. Food is connection. So I want to make it clear. This isn't about cutting out things you love. It's about updating your habits, so that the things you love can keep loving you back. There's something empowering about taking ownership of your health in this stage of life. You're not at the mercy of time. You have wisdom now, not just about food, but about life. You've learned what works, what doesn't, and what truly matters. And sometimes that wisdom whispers to you, gently nudging you to take a second look at the things you've done automatically for years, like your eggs. And here's a beautiful truth. Your body wants to support you, even now, even if you've had a few health scares, even if your joints ache or your blood pressure is up, even if your memory isn't as quick as it once was. Your body hasn't given up on you, and it responds faster than you think to the care you give it. One meal at a time, one adjustment, one better choice. When you start eating eggs with intention, when you stop making these common mistakes and start choosing balance, variety, and quality, you don't just improve your physical health. You start each day with a mindset that says, I matter, my health matters, how I treat myself matters. And let me tell you, That mindset changes everything. It changes how you walk into a room, how you carry yourself, how you interact with others. You feel clearer, more grounded, more in control. And isn't that what we all want as we age? Not just to get through the years, but to own them, to feel alive in them. So the next time you crack an egg, tomorrow morning, or maybe even later today, take a moment, think about what you're adding to it, not just in the pan, but in your life. Are you supporting your heart, your brain, your energy? Are you feeding your body, or just your habits? Small shifts, that's all it takes. Swap the butter for olive oil. Add some greens on the side. Keep the yolk. Slow down when you eat. Try something new. And if you love your eggs, keep loving them. Just give them a little upgrade. You deserve to feel good. You deserve to feel strong. You deserve mornings that don't weigh you down, but lift you up. And if any part of this video spoke to you, I hope you'll take a moment to share your thoughts in the comments. What's your favorite way to eat eggs? Have you noticed changes in how your body responds to them? Let's make this a space where we learn from one another, where we encourage each other to make these years the strongest, most vibrant ones yet. If you found this video helpful, go ahead and give it a like. It lets me know you're enjoying this kind of content. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more practical, uplifting advice to help you live well, eat smart, and age with power. Every subscriber is like another seat at the table, and I'd love to have you here. Here's 2 simple changes that make a big impact. 2 mornings that begin with clarity and intention, and to living your best life, not someday, but now.